Welcome to the Film Comment Festival Report. It's a really fun annual tradition. We here at Film Comment love to do it. And thank you for coming to the event. Every year, Film Comment wraps up the New York Film Festival with sort of an overview featuring some of our favorite critics, debating, discussing, digging into the festival selection. I'd like to bring out some of those. Oh, I think, do I have to, let's see, there's something about Rolex. In partnership with Rolex, I believe is the phrase. And I'm still waiting for my Rolex, I guess. I think I'm also contractually required to make a joke about Rolex based on the screenings that I've been to. All right, let's bring out our critics today. First up, Beatrice Loayza, a Film Comment writer, a regular contributor to Film Comment and one of our favorites. The always wonderful Molly Haskell. We have a truly stacked lineup today. And finally, Jim Hoberman. Jim recently wrote a great review of One Battle After Another for Film Comment.
But we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're not going to talk. That was not part of the New York Film Festival. It may or may not have included Rolexes, though. I don't remember. Well, I also want to note that my co-editor, I'm Clinton Krute, the editor of Film Comment, the co-editor of Film Comment, and my co-editor, Devika Girish, is ill and was not able to make it, unfortunately, and has no opinions about any of these movies. Okay, so what we're going to do is something we call New York Film Festival Superlatives. And it's not really a game show because nobody gets points. But the idea here is to kind of offer some prompts to our panel to start digging into the films and maybe, as opposed to just taking it movie by movie, this gives us a little bit more of an interesting way to talk about these movies. So the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is about your favorite moment in a film from this year's festival. And maybe we could start with Jim.
Okay, first I got to say that I was out of town for most of the festival. So
Why, Jim?
I was in California promoting my book. This is it. This copy is from Molly, but you can find it. Yes, everything is now. Okay. So last favorite moment, is that shot or
I think it could be,
or?
we could kind of open to interpretation, but I think maybe just like a moment that really stuck with you, that you still are.
You know, I took notes on all these things that you asked, and somehow I didn't I didn't include that one.
No, you
But-
didn't give us that one. But
Oh, okay, so I mean blindside. So I can tell you what my favorite, well, maybe it was my favorite shot. I mean, the opening of Kontinental 25, I must say, when I saw that dinosaur, the guy in the dinosaur, I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know there was a theme park, a dinosaur theme park in Cluj, Romania, or where, you know. So I thought that, how did he do this? And anyway, I loved it. He's such a funny, brilliant director.
Yeah, the Radu Jude film, Kontinental 25. Yeah, that opening scene features, it's an unhoused person, right, kind of wandering through the park, to use the parlance. And there's these giant animatronic dinosaurs growling at him, and he's like tying his shoe, leaning against them, and it's like very strange, but...
It's like a derelict Jurassic Park.
Right. Molly?
Okay, is this working? Okay. Well, the Kelly Reichardt, the Mastermind, I had not expected to like it because some friends of mine with whom I usually agree had seen it and not liked it. And in the beginning, this is with Josh O'Connor as this carpenter who's screwing up all the time. And it's a heist film that's sort of an anti-heist film because the whole thing is he does the heist and then everything unravels. But he's this character, you get the sense that he once got by on charm and it's run out. So he's very unlikable, he's very irritating. He's an asshole, and he'll say things like he did the heist. He calls Alana, what's her last name?
Alana Haim.
She's always in the shadows because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about her, and he calls her at one point when he's a fugitive at this point, and he said, "Well, I did this for my family." He said, "Well, I did three-fourths of it for my family," you know. So it's during the 70s. He's robbed this painting from the gallery. The thugs, it was a screwed up job. The thugs have gotten the paintings back, and he's a fugitive now. The law is after him, and he winds up. First of all, I've never seen a picture that shows somebody that's so alone in the world at the end, because he has no resources, no money. He steals a handbag from this woman. He's been completely apolitical. This is the time of Vietnam, and you see off and on during the film marching. So he's stolen this handbag. He loses himself in an anti-war march, and the police are there, and they get him. And it's just so ironic that he cared nothing about this, but he's now being arrested as a marcher, and they put him in the van. He says, "You made a mistake. You made a mistake," and that's the end of the film. I think it's just fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this movie too.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites from
Yeah.
the festival. One thing that I really love about it is like during this extended dissipation at the end, like after the initial heist fails, he's on the run, and there's all these little things that happen that in a normal heist movie would lead you to believe that he's going to escape in some way. That he finds some passport, and he starts to cut his own picture out and put it into the passport, but none of it really leads anywhere. It all just kind of like falls apart, and the movie just kind of is about, I think, in a way, this kind of just things not working out according to the rules of movies in some way.
But he's so obtuse. He's so emotionally obtuse. He likes introspection. He likes any real insight into others. He visits these friends of his, and when the wife says, "I don't want you to come here," because he could endanger everywhere he goes.
Because he's on the run.
It never occurs to him that he could be endangering them, you know.
Or endangering his children.
His children, exactly.
Yeah, well, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually also going to choose a scene from the Mastermind, but I'll come up with another.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But no, I also.
What was yours?
Well, so you mentioned that it's an anti-heist film, and part of the way I think it does this is it just like applies sort of Kelly Reichardt's sort of signature attraction to duration to kind of prolonging scenes. And, with a heist film, we expect certain thrills and a certain narrative arc and excitement. And there's this one scene where Josh O'Connor is, like, he's stolen the paintings and he's going to leave them in this remote barn. And we see him take the paintings one by one up a ladder into like the second floor of this barn.
Attic. It looks like an attic.
Yeah, it looks kind of like an attic.
It's a hayloft, I think.
Right. But it's like so boring. It's like not what you expect from a heist film.
Each motion he takes, and it takes forever. That's a
we talked to her about that during our Film Comment Live talk. I asked her about that scene because I also thought that was really like typical of her in a way, but also played for laughs and against your expectations of what a heist movie would be, where it's cross-cutting with like the cops or the criminals coming after him. But there's no cross-cutting. Nobody seems to really care, and it goes on forever. And he's like falls out of the hayloft.
Yeah, I have to say that reminded me of the two movies of hers which I like the best, River of Grass, which also has like a completely crazy crime,
right?
And Wendy and Lucy, which is like, I mean, that's a devastating movie. This is devastating in another way, but it was a similar thing of the bottom completely falling out.
Yeah, I think it's a good one for sure. I think probably, I think it would probably be one of my favorite moments as well. I'm trying to think of a different favorite moment though, but I think we'll just move on to another question that might be related. It's because it's also favorites. There's no least favorites. We don't go there. Your favorite performance in the festival, and maybe we could do some sort of like random distribution, and Molly could start here.
Oh, there were so many great performances. I was trying to just, I mean, it's a bravura performances like Valeria Bruni Tedeschi as Dusa, who's, I think, fantastic in
The Pietro Marcello film, right?
Yeah. I think the guy in The Secret Agent is great. I love, we managed to discover that I like a film that he dislikes very much, but I like Blue Moon, the story of Lawrence Hart. And I did think that Ethan Hawke was fantastic because it takes place in Sardis. He's now been dropped by Richard Rodgers as librettist, and Hammerstein is now taken over. And it's the opening of Oklahoma, which is obviously going to be a huge hit. And he's in Sardis, miserable at having been sort of shafted by Rodgers and seeing this thing that he's very contemptuous of the film, too much so in a way, I think. It's kind of fascinating. But he sees kind of I think it's sort of a shift in the zeitgeist that comes with Oklahoma. But he's 4 feet tall. And normally, you have this character, you're watching the whole film going here and there in Sardis, and it's a stunt. And it's the kind of thing that you really just usually hate in a film because it disrupts it. You start thinking about how did they do that. And you do think about how did they do that. But to me, it somehow did not interfere with the mood of the film. And the sort of alternation between cynicism and love of what he does, and love of the theater. And I don't know, it was a balance that I thought was just sort of magical.
Beatrice? I think, but before, I think I heard that they dug out troughs for him to walk in, right?
Yeah.
I had just assumed he was walking on his knees.
Oh, I never
But
thought
that
that.
seemed very
I think
painful.
he intentionally also had to have like really hunched
over,
over posture. He's like a tall man, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite performance. I'll go with Rose Byrne in Mary Bronstein's "If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You." I mean, so this is. I feel like there's been a lot of movies lately about just maternal duress, this sort of woman in crises, that lends itself to kind of these virtuosic performances. But Rose Byrne's performance is man, it really anchors this kind of winding, surreal, uncanny film where everyone is really treating her in this terrible way. They kind of trivialize her problems, even though she's not a single mother, but in the context of the film, like her husband's away, she's dealing with this kid who's suffering from some mysterious illness. There's a kind of hole in her home that makes her need to stay in a motel for several weeks with this kid who we never see on screen until the end. Well, I guess it's a spoiler. Actually, that was going to be my another option for a favorite moment when they reveal what the kid looks like. But anyways, for most of the when they reveal what the kid looks like at the end of the film, because so much of it is, I think we are especially annoyed by the kid because we only hear its screeching voice half the time, and we see like Rose Byrne's just kind of reactions to each shout. It's like daggers being put in her. But I don't know, it's just an incredible performance that really kind of balances obviously the tenderness she feels for her child and also the intense aggravation. And also there's a sense of humor to it all too, because she's enduring, but she's also clearly falling apart. Like she's so fatigued. But, also kind of her reactions to different characters that treat her in bizarre ways, like Conan O'Brien, who's just this total asshole and like plays it so straight, like he does not want to deal with Rose Byrne's issues. Yes, he's her therapist.
I was on his side. I have to tell you, I was on his side. When he fired her as a patient, I said, yay.
That's true. She is writing him emails about her dreams, correct? Yeah, no, just like incredible performance.
I think the camera, it's like close up on Rose Byrne 70% of the movie. I feel like you're just like right up in her.
Yeah, she's so tired.
Yeah, that movie is really something. There are a couple movies that I found to be like physical experiences. That was one of them, where and I'm having a difficult time like making sense of if I had legs, I'd kick you. In terms of like ideas, and how it like cohering into something more for me, but it is a emotionally intense experience. Another one that is along the same lines for me was Sirat, the Oliver Lachey film, and I don't know if you guys have thoughts about that, but I think that film was very much just like a thrill ride for me. That again, like by the end, I'm not sure for me, did not really cohere into.
Yeah, I would agree,
more.
but it was, I kind of appreciate it kind of from the lens of it being a genre film. It was sort of like an existential Mad Max, and like beat per beat, I was very gripped by it. I don't really know if conceptually it really amounted too much, or like its ideas.
I thought it was kind of like don't rave.
Yeah, don't rave.
Don't
do it
drugs.
In Africa where you have no, ways of contacting like any other human. But like, yeah, I mean, just in terms of the viscerality of the filmmaking, I thought it was really effective. But I don't know if it would play as well a second time around, and so I haven't seen it a second time.
I just have a physical aversion to desert rave aesthetic, and like from the opening shot, I was just sort of like my skin was crawling. And the movie just kind of kept ratcheting it up from there. And so, but by the end, it reaches sort of a Looney Tunes territory where I was like, there's kind of some release, I think. The violence becomes just like almost cartoonish.
Just a rejoinder, just a brief rejoinder. If I loved you, what was it? I would kick you.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it was an incredible. Rose Byrne is an incredible performance. It's very bravura. It's very brave, but it's very abrasive. And it's relentless. And normally I really am. I like women that play unlikable women. I think it's great. But in this sense, she was just so on the attack all the time. I couldn't even imagine that she would be able to sit still long enough to be a therapist for anybody. And then, it's the first time I've ever. Normally when somebody is going to commit suicide, you say no. I was saying yes.
I found her.
She kept coming back, and she kept going in. I say, "Stay down there."
Maybe this is revealing, but I found her pretty sympathetic. But it just, I think I think that the movie was like intense, like the experience of having small children. You're almost like 50% of the day you are in this like zone of just like intense madness.
Well, there were like every other movie was either a bad dad or a bad mom movie.
Right.
It was really kind of interesting.
Jim, thoughts on favorite performance?
Well, this is tricky for me. I mean, as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Dues, after this. I have a different. I mean, I have to say that Magellan was probably the movie that was the most Magellan was probably the hardest on its cast, and so for that reason, I would say Gael Garcia Bernal. And I also thought that the movie that I just saw, the Two Prosecutors, which is a kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of, it's about the Stalinist terror in 1937. It's a little bit, you think it's a kind of Costa-Gavras.
Maybe we could turn you up, yeah.
Costa-Gavras plot, but it also is very Kafka. Anyway, the whole cast was fantastic. I mean, in acting out these torturers, betrayed communists and so on in this very deadpan manner. But if I had to pick one performance, it would be Willem Dafoe in Late Fame, the Kent Jones movie. And I say that because this guy he's one of these actors that can completely carry a movie. And right. It's if you're asking me about what, I'm going to jump ahead to what stayed with me the longest. I would have to say that it was late
It's
fame.
not allowed.
Yeah.
Cut the mic.
Yeah, late fame also because as soon after I saw it, I had to run out and read the book.
Oh, the
And
Schnitzler
I-
is fantastic.
That's right, and I recommend them both. I mean, the book
Oh.
is great, even if you haven't seen the movie, and the book is interesting still if you have seen the movie. But you know, the what he brought into, like the way he was sorting mail at the post office. I mean, everything that he did, you know, was seemed to me to be perfect. Like he really inhabited that character, and he understood the milieu that he was supposed to be in as well. So I thought it was a great performance.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that film because I do think that the scene that Willem Dafoe's very good in it, and I really liked the scenes where he's interacting with people from his own working class milieu, like where he's at the bar where they're hanging out. I thought that those really resonated. I thought most of the scenes where the movie's about an older man. I don't know. He's
Like an old village elder.
Yeah,
He'd been a poet in
In the
his
70s,
youth, and
right?
he-
Yeah.
part of a scene, and it, he published, but he's rediscovered by these young would-be acolytes, and sort of it rekindles. I mean, at first he's not interested, but it kind of rekindles this feeling that he had when he was young, and it's a satire of the group basically. He's not satire. I mean, he's poignant if anything.
Yeah.
So that's
And I think
the situation.
the portrayal of the group, it seems to not really be wanting to go into satire. There's something where it's like pulling its punches and trying to say that
They're
they're
like Whitstone
actually
characters.
artists and writers.
Oh, I didn't get that feeling.
You felt like it was a.
Yeah,
I
I
thought it
thought-
was satirizing them, but no, I thought there was tonal problems with the film. Well, the thing about the Schnitzler is he's being gently satirized too, because he's going back and forth.
Oh,
and it takes place in his head.
That's right.
And he's going back and forth. Do I want to?
He meaning the Willem Dafoe character, Saxberger.
Before you saw the movie?
No, I just went and I couldn't wait to read it after I'd seen the
yeah,
movie. It's fantastic, and it's uncanny because it could be written today practically.
That's right. Well, that's what they realized.
I know. And you hardly had to do anything to change
Yeah,
it. They
yeah.
did change. He's a white collar worker in the book. I think that's a little better, but anyway. But I guess it's almost like a reference to Bukowski, who was a post
Yeah,
office
I
worker
think so.
between writing poetry and
They asked
teaching.
if he knew it.
Right. That's
like
right.
an
He's
in-joke,
mentioned in the film. Yeah.
I totally agree about Willem Dafoe's performance, but to be a bit of a hater, it also has one of my least favorite performances, which comes from Greta Lee as this like
Yeah, what is
faux
that all
Zelda
about?
Fitzgerald
Yeah.
flapper character, which
Yeah.
I found like kind
I
of
sort of repressed
insulting.
that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, not her finest moment, I guess. But yeah, we can move on. The next question is the best New York Film Festival '63 film about a real person, and I think we could do biopics or documentaries here, or real people who wander into fictional films. Why don't we start with Beatrice? Do you want to?
I mean, Molly already mentioned this briefly, but I also was quite taken by Duce, the Pietro Marcello. It's Valeria Bruni Tedeschi as, the great Italian stage actress, like contemporary of Sarah Bernhardt. And I must say, so I like the film. It was, but his first fiction feature, Martin Eden, for me is one of the great works of the past 10 years. And so it's kind of a high bar, I think, to reach. And I mean, and this because it's kind of working with similar, archival material, kind of questioning, how the art life works, or how it kind of plays against broader historical forces. So kind of similar concerns and similar kind of
Do you want to say
decadent
quickly what
European
it's
style.
about, like how? Who,
Ah,
period
yes.
Well,
Right.
D'Annunzio is the figures largely in it.
Yes. But yes, it's Duce kind of at the last stages of her life after World War I. Her health is declining. Fascism is mounting in Italy. And she kind of has this, she's very vulnerable, but also kind of mad, and that she has this sort of tunnel vision obsession with continuing her career as a great actress, and that in spite of, yes, the rise of fascism, but also kind of the decline of theater writ large. I think in this context, the movies are kind of a threat to, the theater life as well, which is, kind of interesting from today's perspective. But I don't know, I just was really taken by the performance, and I generally love Marcello's
And didn't
style.
you also think the two daughters? Are we allowed to talk about
Sure.
other people?
No.
I thought the real daughter, the biological
Noémie
daughter, and the
Merlant.
assistant, and there's a kind of tension between them. But I thought the daughter, is that the one that's
Noémie Merlant is the real
I thought
daughter.
she was fantastic.
Yes.
And that's when to me the film came most alive, when there was the conflicts that related to the
It's so interesting because the daughter, Noémie Merlant, she's so like rigid and like easy, like she's so offended by her mother's like.
I'm going to see it next.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so sorry.
we said we were going to do spoilers.
Well,
You sissy. No, all right, we won't say anymore.
spoilers are different than opinions.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm going to say something about this
Okay.
movie, and that this is and I'm going to be the hater here, because this is the only movie that I could not sit through.
What?
And Dusa. And it might just be something, my nervous disposition.
Too feminine.
It was too
for you.
feminine. I just need more action. No, it wasn't the length. It was the central performance. I just found it to be so grating that I just I couldn't deal with it. And this was also my response to Blue Moon. These two movies to me, I did stick Blue Moon out, but yeah. So
Molly's nodding her head.
I think so. Molly and I have a fundamental disagreement here. But I think maybe if they'd put her in maybe made her short. So I can't provide any spoilers. Molly, do you want to talk about your favorite film about a real person? I mean, I think you may have already
Well, I already
touched on a
have.
couple,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Is there another one that I don't?
Blue Moon.
Well, I mean, that's my favorite film, and my favorite film about a real person. And I think I now want to go read the biography of Lawrence Hart, because I think he really was a really poignant, tragic guy, and you feel that here, and yet you get the ebullience and all the rest of it.
So much more talented than
Yeah, yeah. And also I was interested because I knew Mary Rogers, I never knew Richard Rogers, but somebody was saying that they thought before I saw it that he got a raw deal in the film, but I didn't think so at all. He's played by Andrew Scott, and he's wonderful. And he's very smooth, and he does talk to. I mean, they do have a sort of a rapport. But I mean, after all, Hart just was getting drunk and not working, and he really had sort of defected. But I thought Andrew Scott is quite marvelous, and I think he's probably nicer than Richard Rogers really was. But
I agree. He
Yeah,
does seem like he's
yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
like when you have a friend who you're very close to, you
Yeah.
can't detach entirely, but you
Yeah.
know that it's unhealthy.
I know, I wouldn't.
Like my
didn't-
relationship with Dusa. I had to cut it off.
All right. I'm going to see
All right,
it.
your
Anyway,
turn. It's your turn.
But the movie about a real character, I would have to mention Magellan again. I wish I could pronounce it in the Portuguese way, but
Never
I
mind.
can't. But because actually, frankly, I thought that was the great movie, or the possibly great movie that I saw here. Although, as I say, I didn't see a lot of things, so I'm partial to that. But Cover Up, the Cy Hirsch documentary,
yeah, right. I
is
forgot
just
about that.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
the thing is that, for me, it's like a walk down memory lane. I mean, I'm an old guy, but I was
We remember
realizing-
My Lai.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a lot of stuff which has just been covered up, which is just swept under the rug, and now more than ever. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to see the My Lai footage again, in addition to all these other things that were going on. I mean, all these other aspects of American history, which are just, it was like common knowledge.
Yeah,
All this
yeah.
stuff, and now it's like, what? When did that
It's so
really happen?
revealing.
And he's a great character. He is a great character, and all the little tidbits you get about his childhood and his parents. He's so funny,
A
and
wonderful
and
background,
such
yeah.
an unsentimental guy. And then the other thing is, it's like a newspaper film. I loved it. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
he's a real reporter. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's very different than he's not somebody who plays a reporter in the movies.
But he's a character too, because he's
Yeah.
very ambivalent. She had asked
Yeah.
him, Laura Poitras had asked him in 2005
Yeah.
to do this. He didn't want to do it, didn't want to do it, didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Finally agreed to do it. And even while he's doing it, he thinks maybe I shouldn't have done this kind
But
of.
this is her specialty. In
Yeah,
all of her movies,
yeah.
there's like a moment where
Yeah.
the subject loses it.
Breaks-
You know,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
worse
yeah.
in the
It's
what's
very
his-
moving.
You know, but in this one, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was really
Another
it was
thing that
great.
really sort of struck me about this, they're talking about My Lai, and Lieutenant Calley was the one, you know, they shot all these South
Citizen,
Vietnamese
Civilians.
civilians. And afterward, he was sentenced to, I don't know what prison terms, like 3 years or 4 years. This is what suddenly I thought, this is MAGA before the fact, avant la lettre. I mean, there was this huge, I did not remember
Oh,
this,
yeah.
a huge groundswell of people saying, free Cali, free
Yeah.
Cali. They had a
Yeah.
ballot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
In the
yeah.
movie, I kind of read that as being. I thought it was people who were saying free him because like he was just a pawn,
Oh,
and
I
that
don't
these
think-
other bigger forces
I
were
just
the
thought
ones
it
who
was
should
he's a
pay.
soldier,
So it
he's
was
one of
like
our
this.
soldiers,
It was
and
this
he was doing
reactionary.
what-
Like,
yeah.
But you know who got left out
Interesting.
of the movie is Colin, the Secretary of State. Colin-
Powell, yeah.
Colin Powell, yeah.
Oh, during the
Because
Abbott
he was one of the higher ups
Right,
who was
right.
responsible
Was he
for,
that-
for covering
yeah.
this up.
oh,
But-
was
Yeah.
responsible for My Lai?
oh yeah,
Oh,
look
interesting.
it up.
I'll
Look
have
it
to-
up. Yeah.
We'll dig back
Yeah.
into the side.
I mean, it was a major. I mean, you get that in the movie, the degree to which they were covering the whole thing up.
Right.
I mean, the decorating Westmoreland. I mean, so awful, so awful.
The thing that
You know.
the thing that stuck with me about this movie was that it's really like described in a vivid way the process of journalism, like that the whole My Lai thing where this was something that it was covered up, but it was also like if you just drew a couple lines between a couple different documents and spent some time reading them, he kind of pieced it together, and like what it shows is that it's I think. We often think that we open the newspaper and there's a story there, and somebody just talked to a source, and the source told them the story, and then the journalist went and wrote it up. And he kind of says that a lot of people, yes, that is the case, that is what they do, but his investigative journalism is much more investigative. He's out there like flying around the country, interviewing people, collecting documents, putting stuff together.
You know, one of the things I was saying, did you see the Brazilian film, The Secret Agent?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, watching that, I thought, this is the 70s, a police state in Brazil, and this guy's on the run. People are being tortured, doing all these horrible things. And normally, I would have been watching that and said, that's way away, nothing to do with where I live. And all of a sudden, these films about police states are
Yeah.
just looking close to home.
Well, in terms of reporting, I mean, I saw this movie I saw it on a link, so I really don't feel like I got.
Yeah, because it's
the whole-
very,
the
it's
whole
very
thing.
overpowering.
No,
yeah.
Nuestra Tierra.
Right,
Is
right.
an amazing bit of reportage.
Yeah,
also, that's
I've seen
the
that.
movie
I know,
about
I
the
know,
mur-
I wanna see
okay,
that.
what the-
Lucretia Martel documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right, that's what I was gonna mention that film because that movie.
Landmarks, is that the one?
Landmarks,
That's
yeah,
that's the English one, yeah.
that's the translation in English. Nuestra Tierra in the Spanish, and it's I think her first feature documentary. Lucretia Martel, the director of Zama and many other classics, but it's about this indigenous group who have filed suit against this, or there's a dust up at one point and somebody was shot, and then it kind of digs into this in a kind of like a true crime documentary. And what I think it pairs nicely with Cover Up because it kind of plays with the genre of like true crime documentary, or the genre of this like let's get to the bottom of this story type of documentary, in a way that I thought was really slippery and interesting. Not in that it's saying there's nothing true here, but really in that like formally she relies on these drone shots all the time. She's always giving us the illusion of a top-down perspective view. Sure.
I mean,
Oh, but you do have to talk into a microphone if you want to talk about it.
I mean, they're so creepy. I mean, you feel like it's like infinite voyeurism, and you can see why people want to not have them coming in that country. There's in the Icelandic film, which I like very much, The Love That Remains. they use them there, and they have just such a spooky feeling to them.
Right.
I think. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think that that's exactly what she's doing.
I know she wants that. You're being surveilled. I mean, you're always
but
being surveilled.
There's that
Yeah.
moment near the end of the movie when the drone is attacked by a bird,
Right,
a hawk or
right,
something,
yeah, yeah.
and it's suddenly like you realize like it kind of lays bare the mechanism of the filmmaking. Shall we move on to, and this is kind of a similar question actually, and they're all kind of variations on the same question ultimately. A movie that you can't shake for good or bad, and I'll lead with Blue Moon. Just kidding. I think Jim will start with you on this one.
I already gave you. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
So we could go on to. Do you?
Who do you want?
You got one? Good.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I can't shake. Okay, we were discussing documentaries, so I guess I'll add The Perfect Neighbor by Gita Ganbir, which is a documentary about the killing of this black mother of 4 by her white lady neighbor who's like the quintessential Karen. So the kind of really thrilling conceit of the film is that it's shot using body cam footage and other kind of materials that were given by the police that were involved in the case. The filmmaker was able to access this material because of the Freedom of Information Act. Technically, all of this needs to be available if it's requested by somebody. So, I mean, the film is incredibly sad, but it's just really fascinating that, you know, when you think of body cam footage, you think of a very dehumanizing point of view. But I think the filmmaker really just like subverts that and actually, I don't know, the way that, I mean, this is really just an amazing work of editing as well, and, you know, image manipulation, because you wouldn't imagine that, you know, such kind of low quality imagery, like footage, would look so good on like a huge blown up screen, but it actually ends up looking quite good. But yeah, I mean, just the way that, you know, all of this footage is cobbled together and like the denouement, you know, it actually really humanizes the people involved in the situation. And though, you know, I feel like I've talked to some people that have said, you know, the cops actually come off really well, but in the sense that they're not just shown as this trigger happy, aggressive force, like they're not that, but, you know, it definitely, I don't think it paints them in a great light either. I mean, it just kind of shows how they step by step were unable to kind of see past their biases about thinking that this neighbor is an innocent figure when clearly there were so many examples of how, you know, she was actually a danger to her community. So yeah, I mean, that film is something I'm still thinking about.
As you're talking about it, you mentioned that it's surprising that the images look so good blown up, and Dry Leaf, the Alexandre Koberidze movie, immediately popped into my head, and I think that's probably the film that will kind of stick with me the longest. I don't know if anybody else had a chance to see that one. It is 3 hours long and all shot on an archaic Nokia cell phone, I think from like early 2000s. I'm not sure what the vintage is, but it's like every shot. It's like about 2.5 hours in, I had the thought, like, this is like a parody of a New York Film Festival art film. Like, we're sitting here watching these, like, but at the same time, I also had the thought, like, every shot was like a miracle. Like, every shot was just like unbelievably beautiful, and just the control of light, and the way that he used the camera, like the very specific qualities of this camera to kind of capture these moments and capture light was just like unbelievable.
So what was this film?
Dry Leaf, Alexandre Koberidze, the Georgian film. And the other one that would stick with me is the Springsteen "Deliver Me from Nowhere," just because I could not get the lyric or the tune to Atlantic City out of my head. But other than that, I will probably not remember it for much longer. Molly, do you want to?
Well, I think the one cover up is the one that reverberates just because it's so. I keep imagining Cy Hirsch covering. I mean, there's so many stories. He was going to do a story on corporations, but the Times, of course, wasn't keen on that since they are a corporation. But anyway, it just reverberates. One film, I don't know if anybody saw the Icelandic film, The Love That Remains.
Right.
I mean, there was something I kept detecting. I think the Iranian film, it was just an accident, and also the Brazilian film. It's sort of the comic horror grotesque.
The Jafar Panahi one.
The Panahi,
yeah.
yes, comic horror grotesque, something.
It was just an accident, right?
Yeah, and the Love That Remains, this Icelandic film. It's really about a family, but it has all these kind of supernatural elements. The beginning. Anybody see it? Well, I won't talk about it, but this woman is forklifting this roof off of a house, and it's this very eerie image. And after that, and it's also the story of a fractured marriage, but it has these unpredictable elements, and I just kept. And it had this sort of thrumming piano music, and you just kept expecting something really terrible to happen. It was mesmerizing, but strange anyway.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah.
So I plan on
That's
seeing
a plug
it.
for that, yeah.
Cannes dog winning performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it won the Palm Dog.
Oh, the Palm
The
Dog.
Icelandic film.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
I mean that, yeah. I
Trivial.
want to see
For
his
what it's
early
worth,
film.
yeah. Okay, the next category here is the movie that surprised you the most. And maybe I can start off, and I'll do the Christian Petzold Mirrors #3, because we haven't talked about it mainly, and because I'd been led to believe that it was minor Petzold, and I really found it to be Mirrors #3, or the Christian Petzold film.
Oh,
Right.
Sentimental Value.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
no, I'm
that's
sorry.
Joachim Trier.
That's Trier.
Memoirs.
Same general
I didn't
region of the world, kind of.
Sorry, no, sorry.
No. And it's about this woman played by Paula Beer, who's in a lot of Petzold films, who is on a vacation with her annoying like EDM producer boyfriend, and they get into a horrible car accident, and the EDM producer boyfriend is killed, and she's thrown from the car, and this woman picks her up from the side of the road and brings her into her home, and she wants to stay there, so she sticks around for a while. But then there's this weird relationship develops between Paula Beer's character and the family, in which she slowly becomes clear that that they're kind of replacing their recently deceased daughter with this new person, and so.
Yeah, that's too much information. But I will say that even minor Petzold is pretty good.
Right.
That's my feeling. I mean,
a very high floor.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give away the ending.
And there's one thing that I'll ask you.
It's all in the description.
And that the thing with I mean, I would say that I actually prefer the political films that he made before this, but there's something that he does with narrative that I'm trying to figure out. I mean, to describe it as a fairy tale doesn't really do justice to it. You have to think of like what fairy tales mean in German culture, like the strangeness of them.
Undine is very much like
what's that?
Undine.
Yes, and this is like that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is as maybe it's not as powerful as it's not as obvious as Undine, but it has that quality. There's all this uncanny stuff that happens in it that is not totally explained, and I think that's part of it too. Sorry, I hope that was like
it's
made you want to
very
see
mysterious.
It. Yeah.
The mystery pervades the film through the end,
Yeah.
and may you enjoy the film. Anyway, I thought it was like kind of minimal Petzold compared to Undine, which is sort of like a drawing on a broader canvas maybe, and I really appreciated that it kind of just honed in on this house and this family and this sort of lost girl in a very like folk tale kind of way.
No, I mean, I think it's him doing doubles again. Like it's
Right.
Phoenix, it's Vertigo, but in a minor key that I don't think is necessarily makes it lesser. It's just,
Right.
smaller.
I had to come up with a reason to fit it into this category. Why did it surprise me? And I don't know. That's it. anyway, I enjoyed it a lot, and I was surprised by it.
Okay. Oh, I was surprised. Am I speaking out of turn?
No.
Okay. I want to come back to Kontinental 25, and I was surprised by it only because this guy, Radu, Jude, he's on such a roll, I think. I mean, and to me, you know, I'm not saying this lightly. I mean, because it's only, and this is going back to the films before, you know, Bad Luck Banging. I mean, the two films before that are terrific. Also, there's one I can't. It's got this absolutely long title. It's about restaging some kind of historical event in Budapest. You know,
yeah, that's really good.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
The one about the writer
Yeah.
who dies in the hospital.
Yeah.
These are all great. And the thing with these last group of films, and I didn't get to see Dracula, unfortunately, but I'll see it, is that he reminds me of Godard in the 60s, and hear me out before don't jump on that, because this guy is really like making, you know, like one after another. He's thinking about what's going on now. It's incredible. All of his movies could have the title, you know, of that Trollope novel, How We Live Now, and this movie about this woman. She had been a law professor. She goes to work as a bailiff for the, you know, and her job is basically, it seems to be like evicting. I mean, a bailiff is somebody who goes around, you know, when there's an eviction and you know, delivers the eviction notice and supervises the collection of the stuff. I mean, we don't necessarily see that here, but you know, but it exists, and her guilt that she feels, and of course it's a comedy because it's, you know, that's a sense of humor, is very powerful, and she goes through this whole. It's like this life-changing event for her, having evicted this guy, and then I won't spoil it, but something happens that really, you know, like shocks her, but is like perfectly in keeping with everything that's going on in the society around her. I mean, I think that you know, he thinks about things, and he feels very. It's a very moral film. I mean,
Right.
it's
And he thinks in
so
images.
different than most of the other films, I have to say.
Yeah, and he thinks in images, like contemporary
Yeah.
images, in the way that
Yeah.
Godard maybe
And
did.
he's funny.
Funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
so
was going to say that.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I just want to point out this moment in Kontinental 25. There's a scene where the character is talking about how much they love the Wim Wenders film Perfect Days, which is a film that kind of romanticizes this toilet cleaner.
Clean.
And I know
The
for a fact that
Xanadu
Radu
toilet
also, you know, has
But it's-
feelings about that film.
Oh, what?
Oh, very just negative feelings about
Uh-huh.
that film. So
It's got antithesis. I mean, it's so pristine.
I know exactly.
Yeah, it depends on how much, like how likely you think you are to encounter God in a toilet cleaning on a day of perfect cleaning.
That's ridiculous.
I think Molly, film that surprised you the most.
Oh. Let me think. Well, I have to say Blue Moon because I wasn't expecting anything. Wait, no, there was others that did.
Did you see Nouvelle Vague too? The other Richard Linklater film at the festival.
Which one?
Nouvelle Vague.
Oh, yeah. I knew those people so well, and to see, you know, very often when people are playing real life people that you know well, it's jarring. I thought the Godard character, except that he smiles, which Godard never did, was very good. He had that kind of raspy voice. It's how they all got started, and it's the Truffaut. I mean, I just felt it's all about this whole group, the Cahiers du Cinema group that started as critics and then became filmmakers. And they're so key and so crucial and important in film history. So you have Romer, you have Chabrol, you have Truffaut, you have Suzanne Schiffman, who was the script girl for all of them. I think for people who don't know that much about it, or even, I think it's instructive and it's sort of joyous about filmmaking in the early days of filmmaking. And did you see it?
No.
Anyway, I was surprised that I didn't like it more than I did, and I was surprised how much I liked Blue Moon. So
Yeah.
But
No,
it,
it's
also Linklater.
I have to say, it sounded creepy to me. It's like one of these things, like the Stardust Diner.
Yeah.
You know, like this facsimile.
Yes,
of something.
exactly
I-
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly like that. Yeah. Did you like it?
I didn't see it.
No.
I mean, after I saw Blue Moon, I was sort of,
Never mind. We know what you think of. We know what you think of women. Okay.
But it is interesting that he's making these recreations of historical moments. It's an interesting.
Well, me and Orson was pretty good.
You know, I've got to see that now. It's the same screenwriter.
Oh, is it?
It's some English teacher.
Some English, that's right.
A
That was
high school English
That
teacher.
was something I went into with like zero expectations.
Yeah,
I
of
was
course, yeah.
really surprised. Yeah.
Beatrice,
I
most surprising?
really disliked Nouvelle Vague, but
It's like what?
Nouvelle Vague.
Did you? Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
like
but
it.
whatever. I won't go into
Tell
that.
me
I think
why
I
you-
wrote a piece about it for filmcomment.com.
What did you say? No, tell me what you said.
No. It's actually been a while. I haven't
Consider it
seen
a
it since Cannes.
footnote. Like, go read her piece on.
No, I'll give a happier surprise. I was kind of shocked that I liked Jay Kelly as somebody that's sort of ambivalent about Noah Baumbach. I mean, I'm like neither a lover nor a hater, and just, this idea of a magic movie with like George Clooney, evaluating stardom through his stardom, I guess. I don't know. It was less about my, I guess, love for George Clooney and more for these cast of supporting actors around him, which kind of gave it this feel of this, I don't know, almost Fellini-esque circus. And it also ends in Italy, so I think that was somewhat intentional. But you've got Billy Crudup as like the guy that could have been Jay Kelly if like circumstance and luck had favored him, and then you've got Adam Sandler and Laura Dern as sort of his assistants. Alba Rohrwacher, who's like this Italian like handler for this big sort of ceremony that they're holding in his honor.
The tribute, right?
Right. Yeah. No. And so I mean, it really was just
and
a matter
Stacy
of
Keach is his father. I thought. Was
yes. Oh my God. Yeah. He's great or awful in a great way, rather. But yeah. No. I mean, I was like quite surprised that I just like enjoyed the ride because I'm not really into this sort of, I don't know, sentimental self-mocking thing that he tends to do. But, this was just really delightful for me on the strength of the supporting cast. And like, Lars Eidinger is also in it in a kind of non-speaking part where he's like this German cyclist that is riding this train that Jay Kelly is also on. So yeah, I mean, that was a delight for me, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right about it's the secondary characters that are the most interesting. Well, I'm sort of lukewarm on Baumbach, but what struck me, it's George Clooney as the star who is on his way out, and this journey he takes, and it's about how he has ignored his two daughters, so there's that family thing. But the best part of it is Adam Sandler as his man. I think the real heart of it is Adam Sandler has been his manager for Can I say this? I mean, is people going to get mad at me for telling?
It's up to you if you want to.
Well, anyway, the relationship between
deal
star.
with the rage.
Two things: the relationship between the star and the manager. Can the manager really be a friend? I mean, after he's been enslaved all the.
Because he's being paid 15%. They say.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And the other thing is, I just think George Clooney is not that interesting. I mean, he's
like a blank
gorgeous. He's
slate.
like a magazine cover. He's just not that interesting
But
an
Adam
actor.
Sandler can be.
Yeah, and he is.
I think George Clooney is good in like Coen Brother movies, right? Because of that like blank slate kind of
Play off
cartoon
the-
when he
yeah,
does that cartoon
yeah.
character role.
Yeah.
But Adam Sandler's,
He was good
And
in
Laura
the
Dern.
Meyerowitz
Yeah.
Chronicles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Kelly. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. I think that I do like Noah Baumbach quite a bit. It's a different subject for him, fame and like wealth, and then
Was it worth it? Is kind of
right. But that
ending
seems to
note.
be like the end. That's like the big take. But I think what's most interesting about the movie is what you're saying. This like, the transactional nature of all of his relationships, including his like family relationships, becomes like something he's meditating on and thinking about at the end of his life.
Well, it's also how hard it is to combine a career of a very active, obsessive career and children, and that's the theme of one that we haven't talked about that I really like, Sentimental Value, with Stellan Skarsgård is the director, and Renata Renzi as the daughter, and the gap between them. I love that film somehow. I love Skarsgård wants to make another film. He wants her to be in it, but she's so angry at him she can't. Anyway, I won't go into the plot, but it's that one captures that sense of how he couldn't. I mean, you really sometimes can't do both. And there's an interesting thing. I was thinking about this, and I took another look at Marriage Story, and there's a line in that Laura Dern is the lawyer. It's Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver breaking up. In fact, I thought the Bradley Cooper film is almost like that film all over again. But Laura Dern has this line, and she said, the father was the good father wasn't it? I have to get it. I wrote it down. I don't want to get it wrong, but something about the good father. Here we go.
Make sure you
the
read it on
idea
Mike's
of
side.
a good father was only invented 30 years ago.
Right.
And so and there's some truth in that all of a sudden now men are expected to be good fathers, which they weren't, and they can't. In the struggle.
It's a real problem.
Yeah, big problem, and that's why you're. If I love Jack could kick you by the Rose Byrne character. He has no help. Yeah.
Right, and and Christian Slater just appears as a voice on the phone, and if I had legs, I'd kick you. Jim, did you?
No, are we gonna wrap by talking about the last shot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I would say, what is it? Your favorite last shot?
Yeah, favorite last shot.
Oh, okay. I had it for.
We're freestyling.
I would say that my favorite last shot was the last shot of Resurrection, and you can take that any way you want.
Come on, elaborate.
That's
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought about
You've been saving that line for some
I mean, that's right. I was going to get it.
Do you have a favorite last shot you want to share?
I don't, but I can talk about another movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, how about this? Let's do this instead. Let's do a shout out. Anything that we didn't mention that you really thought that left an impression. Let's do like one last shout out.
We're not going to talk about After the Hunt.
Did it leave an impression? I mean, we can.
Many impressions. Most of them not good anyway.
What about
Keep things
speaking of impressions?
positive here.
Yeah.
We're going back to Springsteen.
Okay. I mean, this is also kind of my backup surprise. So I actually quite like No Other Choice. I'm not like a Park Chan-wook girly. Either
Which one?
No Other Choice, the Korean Park Chan-wook film.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I have tended to not like the sort of hyper stylized color theory, hyper saturated thing he does. But this film, which is kind of like a class black comedy about a guy who's got it all, like the perfect family, like an upper middle class, like bourgeois, and he loses his job. And so in an act of desperation, he decides that he's going to like kill these other candidates that are, I guess, favored over him for this big position at the paper company that he wants to work for. And so the film kind of goes through his killings and sort of his mental spiraling as he tries to like win it back for his family. And his daughter is like this violin prodigy, so that's on the line as well. But I don't know, there's just like there's these really odd moments in the film of kind of bizarre humor that kind of give it a fun texture, and in general it's a kind of in a more comedic, lighter tone that I'm accustomed to from him, or at least in like the past several films. I know that he was a bit more comedic in the beginning, but yeah, no, I just think that this lighter tone just really works a lot better with his mode of artifice, because I don't know, the last film, Decision to Leave, which was this kind of like heavier romantic drama, that the way that kind of squared with this hyper stylization honestly kind of annoyed me, but like here it kind of all kind of meshed together in a really interesting way, so that was a pleasant surprise.
It's a good recommendation. It's one of the films that I kept trying to go to screenings of and just never worked out, but I have designs
it's fun,
on
so
seeing.
something to look forward to.
Yes. Molly?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. I'm trying to remember the Deuce because there was something that I felt at the end that I almost hadn't felt all the way through. And I can't remember how it worked, but and also Sentimental Value, I felt something in a kind of, they read the screenplay. They hadn't. He wants his daughter, Renata Rensby, to be in it, and she's rejected it. And he also wants his grandson, the son of the sister who's also wonderful in the film. And finally, they read the screenplay, and I just don't want to say too much, but they realize that he has understood so much about her that she didn't know, and that was just kind of a sort of epiphany that really got to me.
Well, I think we are right up against our time here, so we're going to open it up to just 3 questions, a maximum of 3 questions, and right here, I'll give. Do we have another mic? Oh, we got. The mic is on its way.
Thank you guys so much for doing this. I saw there were a few films this year that I saw that got a lot of critical acclaim before the festival that just did not work for me at all. And it kind of put me into this weird space where I was like, am I stupid? Is there something that I'm not getting? What am I missing here? And I'm wondering if you guys have this experience, if this is the kind of thing that prompts you to revisit a film, read more about the film. What do you do when you come up against something like this?
Well, I think this is a good impulse that you are not just going with the flow of the critical consensus, especially because the first wave of critical reactions are always coming out of festivals. And as somebody that attends festivals, like, don't entirely trust like our impulsive reactions, because we are on little hours of sleep. We're watching like 4 or 5 films a day, so that is not necessarily the truth of the matter. And it's a good thing actually that you are reflecting on your relationship to, I guess, the critical consensus.
Yeah, and also sometimes I think you react. It's wonderful when you don't know. It's hard to go see a film that you haven't heard anything about, but when you do, it's wonderful because you can have your own opinions fresh. But sometimes I think you react against the hype, and you say, well, it's not that good. So it's sort of disappointing because it hadn't lived up to. But I don't know. I think, yeah, I agree with you. Examine your own. I don't know if you need to see it again if you didn't like it, Yeah, what do you think?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, if you then read something else that seems convincing to you, then by all means, see it again. But otherwise, life is short. I mean,
On that note, let's move on to the next question. Does anybody else have a? Right there in the back, please.
Hi, I thought the best documentary was Evidence. Did you see it? Anybody have any comment about that?
Evidence.
Leanne Schmidt in Currents.
It was another one where I was like, this looks really good. I really want to see it, and I couldn't make it to those screenings. But it did really look very compelling. Did anybody on the panel see it?
No, well, I'll look for it.
It was in Currents, yeah.
Will that have any kind of exposure, do you think?
I can't speak to the business
it's like a
aspect
series
of the
of like
industry.
vignettes, kind of static shots of. I'm actually. Is it?
Saw it.
Okay, so this is why you should never trust initial reactions at a festival. So I saw it at the Berlinale, and this was like at the end of my 10 days there, and I passed out. It was really beautiful, just sort of like formalist, static imagery of I think, is it something to do with pharmaceuticals?
It's about her family's involvement.
Right, her family's involvement with just like corporate, yes. Right. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I actually I did not internalize that film at all. So this is me being full disclosure.
Well, you're closer than the rest of us to having seen it. All right, one more question.
Okay, so this kind of goes against what you were saying, but The two films that I enjoyed the most haven't really come up. One was Secret Agent. You kind of mentioned it, but it wasn't among the films that you talked about. I'm kind of curious about that. And I just wanted to put in a word for Peter Hujar's Day, which I thought wasn't like a great movie, but was really showed what movies can do. Like, this was about a really banal thing. And by the end of the movie, it was just like this, created this magical, emotional environment that I just found incredibly powerful. So I'm just curious if you've seen it or have thoughts about it.
You know, I think we have to talk about Secret Agent a little bit before we go. And Peter Hujar's Day we can also touch on as well. But Secret Agent, I think it's crazy that this massive movie that I think is, for me, one of the movies of the year so far has like somehow slipped through our grasp here.
I also love it. I love The Secret Agent.
fantastic.
I just didn't speak about it because I saw it several months ago, so it's not really fresh in the brain. But I
Very
mean,
complicated.
and it's
for-
extremely complicated, and it's so beautifully meandering. Like something that I remember is that it like really goes to lengths to just, I don't know, be amongst this community and just kind of like float around the various members in it to like, I don't know, to kind of lift them up and kind of make this not like a hero story, but rather like a story about a collective.
Or a community, right? I think a lot of movies this year were about this sort of, these communities that exist as networks, maybe outside of the purview of the authorities. And but I know that Jim, you did not.
I'm with you if that's one of the movies that you were talking about. Yeah, I was.
You were disappointed.
That's the word. I was disappointed. Yeah.
I think that.
But hey,
That's good. We don't agree.
And then Peter Hujar's Day.
I'm curious to see. That's going to open,
Which
right?
one?
Peter
Isn't
Hujar's
that
Day.
going to open
Opens
here?
next month, I
It'll
think.
open
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no, I'm
Film
very
Lincoln Center
curious to
next
see
month.
that.
I am
Very
too.
curious
I've
to
heard
see
great
that.
things
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that will do it for us tonight, and for this festival. There's many screenings going on, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Deuce.
Till Monday.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. You still have a couple days. When I'm done, I'm about to be pulled off the stage.
Yeah.
The giant hook. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's always a pleasure. We love to talk about movies with you, and thank you so much to our panelists. It's always a pleasure.